It can get to a place where some people just think, I want the romantic life aesthetic. I want to put that on social media, and it can seem like it's lost the point. But when I'm talking about it in the context of neurodivergent brains, my experience and us as a people, I naturally took great pleasure in small things. And the crux of it is very often just to take pleasure in something that's not a massive ordeal. This isn't necessarily about events. You could work it into those, but it's kind of about the event of daily life. I'm really glad I have my notes right now because they are really helping me, and they still feel a little disjointed. But the thing about notes, one thing I wanted to say on that is I am the person who's had the experience of ending up on tech. I've said it before. A few years ago, I felt better with the phone because you could wipe the phone down, and so I started taking my notes on there, and it's been a miserable nightmare for me because I can't find them. They don't make any sense. Digital notes can automatically delete themselves. I recall some of my notes deleting themselves while I was in the process of backing them up. There's always a moment wherein you're compiling something, and in that moment I was backing them up and they got deleted. So that was extremely horrifying and unpleasant, and not something a real book has ever done to me. A real book doesn't cause me to fight a typewriter that does not have my vocabulary, doesn't seem to have any vocabulary. It just doesn't seem to know words as complex as the word stop. For some reason, the word stop is just too much for my personal phone. I don't want to get into it. It's very annoying. I really dislike putting a lot of work into it, especially when I'm sleepy. This stuff drives me crazy, and I don't want my notes driving me crazy. But if I have a pen and paper and I'm taking analog notes, nothing gets what I call auto-incorrected on me. It doesn't switch up my word for the most shocking series of words I could possibly imagine. That you ever notice how sometimes they seem faintly racist, or just like, why did you choose that? Why did you choose a word that is denoting somebody's culture or their nationality while I'm trying to talk about, very often, probably something like, I don't know, just breakfast. You know, the stuff you message to people. Sometimes it's a big deal, an update in life, and sometimes it's like, oh my gosh, I'm so happy, I'm enjoying my cold brew today. Let me tell you about how I made my mug of coffee. But sometimes it's just an innocuous message and the keyboard is changing it, and this blows my mind. Where are you choosing these words from? Sometimes it's hilarious, sometimes it is overtly impolite. Sometimes it gives you a message that is so impolite it's actually hilarious, but it's more like the kind of thing you might want to be sending to your lover. It's really sometimes hilarious, but it's also something a notebook will never do to me. If I write down any kind of note on any kind of paper, I'm not going to come back later to find it saying something shocking and be like, oh, I sent it. Oh no, I can't bring it back. Oh no, what am I going to do? Okay, let me just breathe. It's not that big of a deal. I can't stand this stuff. It didn't make my life any easier. It just made it easier to wipe down. But unfortunately, it got my little brain used to the immediate ease of having a notebook with me at all times. And I started using it like crazy, despite the fact that it's not actually been a very pleasant experience for me. I hate that too. There's enough of a level of convenience to potentially having that phone everywhere with you that it eliminates the logic and the beauty and the ease of using something that works better, works for longer, is safer, feels better. Ooh, the tactile experience of writing. That's one of the reasons why I love analog notes. Yep, battery issues for the second time today. Second time trying to film one video. Anyway, what I'm saying is analog notes. I'm a big old sensory stimmer, so when my senses are aggravated and annoyed, I really feel that. My battery's dying over and over and over. However, whatever, that just shows how much work I've been putting into getting this done today. Yay me. But what I really love, oh man, even that, I just went and did like the little clicky stem of a pen. I love that. I love the pen clicking. I love the sensation even of, the ballpoint, the roller ball, it's not just all fountain pens. I was the person in the store taking notes with a fountain pen and my traveler's notebook. That added something wonderful to my life. A touch of romance in the midst of a place with a whole bunch of with that constantly flickering, buzzing, unnatural looking lighting. What do they call it? I can't think of it. Okay, I cannot remember the name of the lights, but the ones I hate. And I could be standing out there in the world and have my lovely pen, and sometimes it'd be a ballpoint pen. I had my favorite. Whatever it was, it's something nice. It's something with a metal body, something that will last. I can keep my stuff together. I'm taking my notes. I decorate it. My notebook, I do that. I don't necessarily go all out with the concept of pretty planning, right? But I will add something that gives me that sensation that I've made it mine. It shows some aspect of me. There's something special that day. There are some stickers that I adore and really want to use. Decorating my planner might have been one of my first healing moves as far as romanticizing everything, because I'm decorating it and I'm making it pretty in my way. I'm using the stuff that I like. But it also was something where I used to have stickers. For instance, I'd get stickers, or I'd get some, they'd be on sale, or at some point in my childhood somebody gifted me a whole bunch of them. And they were all things where what I was going through was telling me, you can't have this. So when I had it, I had this concern that, well, I can't use it. I'll never have it again. I don't want to use it up. At a certain point in my life, I decided to use my stickers. I'm not having that much, I will flip through them and see how pretty they are, but I'm not having that much fun using them if I'm not actively using them. Looking through a book, remembering I have them every now and then, is not the same. A book or something where I stored them is not the same as being able to flip through my planner from that year and forever remember my thoughts and my mood and my choices in that moment and how I was choosing to express myself. It's totally different. So using my stickers was a big thing. And man, there are a lot of places that could go. But that's one of those things. Apparently there's been some kind of an explosion over the past few years, and I haven't researched it like crazy, but people who are all into that, and the community and the fountain pens, and some people who have businesses where they're doing this stuff, they're saying there's been an explosion. Everything went super technological, and a lot of people who have been raised in that environment are, in a way, sort of discovering pen and paper all over again, because they're starting to see the magnificent, beautiful, daily, romantic use of having that tactile sensation of putting your note down with your hand on a piece of paper that's underneath, if that's something you can do. And it's been something that I've always enjoyed. It's the sensory thing. I can hear the pen on the paper. Sometimes that can be a bad sound, but for me, I know if I choose a different paper or a different pen or both, all of a sudden it's that beautiful sound again. There is such a variety of textures for the one and the other that you might end up putting a pen on paper and hating the sound of it and thinking, this is disgusting, give me my phone back. But I am motivated enough and aware enough of what's probably going to work for me that I do know how to go find a pen that'll sound better, paper that'll feel better, a better texture, a better color, and so I go for that stuff, and it adds something magnificent to my life. I will sit there at my desk with a beeswax candle burning, just having a quiet moment to myself, possibly with my beverage, with my coffee or my tea or whatever. Maybe I'm eating, but the important part is I will sit there having the experience. I thankfully have a solid wood desk surface. Just hit my arm on it a little, but it was louder than it was painful. It didn't hurt. I have that tactile experience of having that solid, proper material that I like, that could last for the rest of life. Actually, a great many lifetimes. And I can sit my book down and have my pen, and I have my candle burning, and there's nothing else going on to distract me. And it feels so, I don't know, I'm always thinking Anne of Green Gables. someone who, apparently I'm not the only one who thinks obvious neurodivergence. It seems like there's a pretty clear streak of ADHD going on there. I'm not sure what else. It makes me want to rediscover it. But maybe that's part of the reason why I loved the Anne of Green Gables stories and books, because Anne. It obviously was Anne, but the concept that even then I was finding my neurodivergent brethren and sistren with no idea what I was actually doing inside of a book that would end up being my absolute favorite book for the rest of all time, apparently. That's amazing to me. But she was a writer. And so sometimes when I think about old-fashioned moments where instead of having everything going and whirring and electricity pumping through every device, I have an offline, closed-circuit writing device and some paper and a candle, just like Anne would have had. She would not have the culture shock of dropping into this world and trying to figure out how to work with a touchscreen TV or something. Because it's very much a moment where it's like, I mean, if she were to drop into the world and see some of the romantic life moments that we're having, where you're using a candle snuffer, and I'm going to tell you, I never thought I needed a candle snuffer, but I did get one recently. And the magnificence of being able to put that candle out without even the slightest chance that you will blow wax someplace where you don't want it. And you can have a mouthful of food and need the candle to go out, and you can put it out without having to wait and chew and swallow and wait all the time. Sometimes you need to get up and go, right? Sometimes you need to leave the room fairly quickly. Maybe you want to check on something. Maybe a package is coming. Maybe someone's talking to you. You just want the candle out for safety purposes. The snuffer helps me to do that without having to rearrange my entire life. That's a really old-fashioned thing. That might be another romantic moment I didn't even think about, because it's just adding this beautiful ease, and it's really pretty, the one I got. I'm sitting here looking at it because it sounds like a bell, because it's so pretty. It's this antique coppery thing, and it just, swoop, couple seconds, the candle is out. I don't have to get up and upset my life. I don't have to move the candle to me. I don't have to move myself to the candle. Another old-fashioned thing. I'm thinking Anne comes into my life, and if I present things properly, she's going to see a lot of plastic sitting around with a whole lot of weird stuff going on with it, but she still can light and snuff a candle in the old ways. I mean, I do use a modern lighter, but what I'm saying is once the candle is lit, you can put it out in the old ways. You can have the candle lit, and you can sit there and do something that feels normal to you, where you're not bombarded with, you know, some of us will know the sensation of the electronic version of something is not the same. The light bulb that we have going at night when we're busy is not the same as having that beautiful daylight from the sun hitting you during the day. This is why I like the candle. It's another organic, elemental sensation. Ooh, traffic, distracting. It feels like nature. It feels like life, and it helps me feel more connected with the aspect of me that is nature, because I'm a very spiritual person. Sometimes I need to stay grounded, and remembering care for my flesh, for the flesh side of my experience during this time frame on this planet, can be a very powerful thing. And so when I take my moments to do something beautiful with my surroundings that help me to remember the flame, a drink of clear water, a breeze when I'm outside, I'm in human flesh, my body is of this earth, I'm connecting with all of that, and it gives me a little pump of sanity I very much need in a world that's constantly trying to pump it out and keep it where I can never reach it again. These are things that just function for me on a daily basis. And my main point with the concept of romanticizing life, I think part of the reason why it's been so weird for me to bring it up, I have all of these thoughts on the subject, but the thoughts that I have, I swear they seem like they're so natural and inherent to the way my brain works, the way our lives work. We have a tendency to be those people where we have one particular spoon, one particularly sized spoon. It's the one unusual spoon maybe in the drawer, and there's not another one left like it. That's the one we use. It's the one that makes the food taste and seem better. The experience is better. We famously will put on some kind of cozy foot pajamas. I don't know, maybe you're a brony or Pegasister and you're putting on your unicorn feet pajamas, and that is how you cozy yourself. That is a romantic moment. You are taking care of self and you are adding some extra coziness to your life. These are things that we do. There's always something about us that's considered to be quirky or unusual or just weird, a word that's unnecessarily loaded. Maybe I'll talk about that because I see some of these words and terms, I see things differently. It doesn't have to be that loaded. For me, it was a good thing. I rolled into it. Weird embodied everything I loved and I wanted. So I like the word. I'm different. It's something not everyone can compute. I'm down with that. For whatever reason, I rolled right into it and I love it. But it just seems like in the world of self-care, whether you've been through immense trauma or you have not, whether you've been cared for so that your routines, people know they're different, but they're just like, oh, well, we're going to do this, shift our life around. You're going to have your routines. There's space for those. It sounds like an amazing blessing. If you're that person, or if you're the person where the opposite happened and everything was tortured out of you with sheer terror, that way that we take care of ourselves, the special things we like to do, the places where we like to go, the cloak that we like to wrap ourselves in when we're feeling really much that day. I have been the person who has sat down and put on, I have a collection of diadems. I'll put on a tiara and I will wear my purple velvet cloak and I will sit on my bed and nest like Queen Birdie as I am, and everything will be delightful because it makes me feel good. It's the kind of thing I might do when there's a new episode of Grey's Anatomy or I'm watching the latest Fast and Furious movie I haven't seen yet, because I love to zone out into those movies. I will put stuff on like that. The movie I don't want to ruin by adding something crazy like chores, but I will put on reruns of Grey's Anatomy while I'm doing something like chores, bring something fun and delightful or humorous into my life. Maybe I get to watch an episode where I've been like, oh, I'm thinking about this episode, indulge it. Some Star Trek. Star Trek Next Generation feels cozy and comforting when I have the energy to do it. And yes, I still have a DVD player and DVDs. I will pop in a DVD and just have Star Trek The Next Generation playing. Then everything else I'm doing while I'm doing that kind of fades away because I'm really enjoying having the show playing. It's highly technological and highly modern, but it's adding a moment where I can enjoy something in my life. It's just the philosophy of play music while you're cooking, especially if it's something like Thanksgiving cooking or one of those traditions I'm not that hot about because I always had to do it and it was a nightmare the way it was done. It was a huge thing. It's cooking for days. I don't want to get into it. I really hate it. But the tradition for a lot of people is just, hey, play some good music while you're doing all of that. And frankly, that wasn't going to fix it for me, but that would have been something that would make my day a lot better. I should have had on headphones and just tried to listen to the music, but then you're communicating with the person who's made it a huge event. Maybe it wouldn't have worked that well. But it's very much, in the vein of that tradition where people are saying you've got something big to do, it's a huge task, it takes a lot of time, play some music. This is a really old tradition. Calling it romanticizing is a really new tradition, but it's being plastered onto something that's been around since the beginning of time, which is, whistle while you work. All right, one more interruption. This must be the one. We'll see when I watch this back with all these interruptions. For some reason, this day, I feel like this is probably the one. I think I hit all my points in this video. To me, romanticizing life is basically self-care. It's a really nice, non-pathological way. It's a de-pathologizing way to just refer to all of those things that I think we do as NDs. In my ADHD experience, I've kind of been naturally romanticizing or trying to do so every place where I could possibly get the leniency to do so, or where I could sneak it. If I could sneak some kind of joy in my heart, inside of my own mind even, It was always about me adding something beautiful to my life in lieu of adding something that's not so beautiful, or just dwelling in a place where something that was not so beautiful remained. And I think it is something that can be used in a very healthy way to heal. And that's how I've been using it. I have been adding the romance, and I have been enjoying myself and my life. This is reminding me, I did a video on my first channel, Aviana Lemaire, and it was about how locking my hair kind of functioned as a wound healing experience for me. And one of the things that kind of fits into that category, because now it's been a long time, I have my hair kind of where I want it. I'm just living with it to where whatever's changing, it's now just whimsy and me doing more things I want to do. But I used to have this experience in my life where what they call tender-headed, and the doing of my hair hurt like crazy because of the way it was done. If my hair had been locked out of the womb, then I would never have had all that pain and all those miserable experiences. But what other people know about hair care sometimes is very painful for some of us, and I was that person. It was really painful. It was a destructive experience. My head would be searing. Sometimes I'd be putting my head up there, because my hand up, I'm checking because it hurts so much. I'm like, is my skin still in one piece? Is it still healthy? It would be burning and blazing. There were so many products. It was completely miserable. I never felt like I was completely together, sleeping, waking up. There was so much work to do my hair every day. And when I locked it, my hair is kind of self-doing now. I mean, I did the braids. It didn't do the braids itself today. I just was standing in front of the mirror and I wanted to braid my hair. But I don't have to braid it. Usually when I get up, I either don't do anything at all to it, because I already feel cozy and comfortable and together, and that I look like me. Or the thing that I've been doing because of the heat over the past season is just putting it up in a bun to get it off of my skin. That's not a lot of hair care for me. It's not a huge amount of work. It's kind of my version of a wash and go. Now I can actually wash my hair and go. I saw a video a long time ago, and I can't remember who it was, in a slew of lock videos when I was learning about all the different techniques and how people do it. And I was also looking at the natural loose hair videos, and I think this was a natural loose hair video actually. But people were talking about wash and goes, and apparently people had come up with this whole thing where they wash and they do this and they dry and they add this stuff and they do all these extra things. And I was like, okay, that's not what I would think a wash and go means. It sounds like you're just going to do the one thing and then do the other. And I remember this one particular video where someone was asking about the details. Do you do this? Do you do that? Do you do the other? And she said, it's a wash and go. I wash and I go. It had me cracking up. I was like, I must not be the only one misunderstanding, because to me it seems like a very simplistic term. But in my life, my hair care was not simplistic. I had to do huge amounts of work. I always felt off my game. I never felt like I felt like me. I didn't feel pretty in a regular state because I felt like I was always on top of something with my hair, trying to keep it together. Now I'm doing something where, my roots, you're never going to see, unless I've done it freshly, you're never going to see all the straight specific parts, because I don't like that in my own hair. I don't want nothing to do with it. That does not feel good. It's not a look that I like. So since it's not my style, I don't do it. I've locked my hair, and now every moment of my life is kind of an effect of washing and going. And if I'm not actively washing, I'm actively going. So it changed my life. It eliminated huge amounts. One of the things in my life that I said in that other video, you go through certain things. One of the things that you grieve as you heal is the time, your age, the years, whatever went by. And the amount of time I used to spend in my hair was greatly grievable for me, because it was all so miserable and it hurt. And there were these products that felt disgusting. It's a sensory thing. I couldn't stand it. It was all so horrible. And for me, when I locked my hair, I choose to take care of it in a way where I use light products, and I wash it quite simply. I don't have 50 million steps. it's literally just, you know, I have a spray and moisturizer. I'll use oils and essential oils and things like that, but it's not a big deal. I'm just living my life. And so I saved a huge amount of time. And if I had continued to spend a decade, like this past decade of my life, I can't imagine how much time I've saved in hair care. So while I was busy grieving the time that was lost in my life and that I could never get that back from not just the painful hair experience, but some of the things that were just other things that were done to me in life, I've found a way to eliminate wasting more time. I can't necessarily get that time back. I don't know the infinite laws of the universe and whether or not I can get it back. Like the concept that time will slow down sometimes. There are all these different ideas about it. I don't know. So far as I know, my experience of time is that's gone and I can't get the time back. But what I could do was lock my hair, and I didn't realize it at the time, but what ended up happening was I got huge amounts of my time back. I don't ever spend hours doing my hair anymore, except sometimes I work loose hairs in when they just are turning into fro and they're wild. And that'll take place, but that's like spending a few hours a year. It's not something where I have to do it every few days or more often or slightly less often. I've gotten so much of my time back. And for me, this is hyper romantic because my style was always quick and easy. And this is quick and easy. And I also like all the different styles I can do, what I'm always calling things like Princess Guinevere hair, where I do all my little loops and braids and I have fun stuff and I can put my color in and it's not a big deal. That was also extremely healing, and I feel very romantic when I wake up. And I've just got healthy, healing locks cascading down my arms and my shoulders and everywhere. It's absolutely romantic to me, and it feels like another thing from that time frame. I can have the princess hair. I can have, you know, the queenly coiffure. I'm gonna crack up now because there's an episode of My Little Pony, and I won't get into it, and I can't mock it because I can't do it like her. But long story short, Rarity is much. Her muchness is over the top, and she was reacting to someone's hair. Walked in the room, I think it was Princess Twilight Sparkle before she was a princess, I think. And she walked in, something was wrong with her hair, and Rarity's reactions, just yelling something like, "Oh my word, whatever happened to your coiffure?" But the way she said it was hilarious, and so I'm not even going to try to mimic it because it was just too hilarious. And now every time I say this, I find myself saying it the way I remember Rarity saying it, because it's the quintessential way to say it. It's made it. The experience in my life of that word is Rarity having that reaction. She's lost her mind. Your hair is that bad. What can we do to fix your hair so Rarity can ever feel okay again? But anyway, this is why I'm going to be cracking up as I read my outro statement, which I'm going to try to do now. I think I must be done. My alarm just went off for something. I must be done. Look at that. The timing is perfect. Have any thoughts or questions? Share them in the comments. Notice any gaps in the autistic, ADHD, or ADHD community conversation? Got any ways that you like to romanticize your life? Things that make you feel happy and joyful? Share them in the comments. Want a spiritually, mystically inclusive indie voice on a subject? Just looking for an extra opinion or viewpoint? Share your suggestions in the comments. If I can address them, I might make them into a video. Remember to like, share, subscribe, ring the notification bell for all of my newest updates, and be blessed. And I do mean that because I have a bunch of ideas myself, but I also am interested in what other people want to see out there. So I know if I'm not seeing stuff, or if I want to add my opinion, there have to be other people who are looking for some content, and here I am making content. I mean, I've got the time and the curiosity, and it's my interest set. Shoot it down in the comment section, and I will find out if I can do anything to address it, because it'll be as fascinating for me to see what I do with it as it might be for you to see what I've done with it. Hopefully, we will all have fun, and away I go. That's about it. Bye now. The silliness has come out. She needs a nap, but she's not going to take one because she's obsessed with editing the video. maybe later, probably tonight, and it'll just be going to sleep. But either way, I'm looking forward to it already.